What's up, y'all? Back again. Your eyes and ears don't lie. And it's crazy with this double standard that really none of us are really surprised of, since we know this is all about a double standard that we've been seeing since the beginning of history, especially here in this country. But you got to understand that in this country, the laws weren't created. Like, white America didn't create these laws to follow them themselves. They created them to police the rest of the world, the rest of the population, the non-whites. These weren't, people keep telling me, they're just lawless. No, they know the laws. They just don't think they apply to them. And that's evident in so many different walks of life. You know, I'm looking at the outrage that people got over your boy that got his ass kicked in Cincinnati, where he should have got his ass kicked in Cincinnati. You was yelling out bullshit to people and you slapped one of them and tried to slap another and didn't think you was gonna get your ass kicked? When you watched the whole video, they were just having an argument. He was talking shit, other people were talking shit. He tried to slap a few of them, slapped one of them, and then you got your ass toe up. So white America want to turn it into some racism. It was a hate crime. No, it wasn't. It was a racist white guy getting out of pocket and getting what he had coming. But y'all ain't talking about what happened in Indiana. You ain't talking about what happened at Pike's Pub, where this racist white nationalist biker gang beat this black dude down for no reason. The owner of the bar, Pike's Pub, let's get the name right, Pike's Pub, owner Kelly Rost, who at this point, it's been proven they lied about the guy trying to skip out on a bar tab. These racist ass bikers just beat him down because he was black. And to cover for him, the bar owner put that name out there, Kelly Rost, a Pike's Pub, lied to try to help the bikers out because you a racist piece of shit yourself. He didn't skip out on no tab or nothing. He was black and y'all didn't like it because you're a known racist white supremacist biker gang and you beat him down. And to cover up for the hate crime that y'all committed, y'all got the owner to lie for y'all. Who knows if he even got the owner to lie for y'all? The owner might have just lied because that's the type of person they are. Where they was down with it. So you protecting your own. But just the outrage and the shit you've been hearing on all these bullshit media networks about how horrible it was that these black people did this white guy like that at Cincinnati. You slap somebody, you supposed to get your ass kicked. Or you better put them things up and know what you're doing. What you think because you white, you can just slap somebody? I know mentally a lot of y'all think y'all can. But you got exactly what you was supposed to get. Go yell out some racial slurs to some people and then start slapping people. Get the fuck out of here. If you was another black dude and start slapping people and shit, you should have got your ass kicked by some other black people. Your race really is only relevant because you were racist and you was yelling out racial slurs and shit. But the fact that you hit somebody first and then got your ass kicked, but that ain't how they gonna tell the story. Every story, when they wrong, they try to twist that shit. They try to change the narrative by just saying he got out of pocket, got his ass whooped. If you really want to do the public a service media, you tell the truth and tell them, you need to watch your mouth and don't, if you decide to hit somebody, expect them to hit you back. And if you decide to go to a crowd and start some trouble, you might have to fight more than one of them. But that's not what they're saying. Any story that you ever see, they can clearly point out the aggressor and whose fault it is if he's not white. But if it's a white guy that does some crazy shit because he racist and he on some white privilege, then he's always the victim. But you look at how they vilify, you got no problem vilifying people of color in the media. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people of color, you wrong. what you did was wrong, but that ain't how they portraying it. They trying to make things in the eyes of the public show people of color are the most violent, dangerous people ever, when statistics don't show that. But you ain't gonna see those statistics on any of the propaganda networks they watch. I got a buddy that says he can't stand these MAGA maggots and all that, but you gotta know your enemy, so he watches Fox News. And the shit that they say on there, first of all, I ain't giving them no damn ratings. That shit that they be saying is so damn stupid, you can catch it on YouTube or somewhere else without giving they asses some ratings. I ain't gonna watch your bullshit to give you any kind of ratings at all. But the shit is so outlandish that they say you can catch it on YouTube or TikTok or other clips because they say it with no remorse or dignity. And a lot of it, they're racist, but they're also greedy and they know what their people want to see. So a lot of them, they know what they're saying is wrong and inflammatory and dangerous, but they're getting paid enough money to do it. And then some of them are just outright straight pieces of shit. You know, you listen to them talk, they are. You know, they're just degenerates who are taking advantage of other degenerates, people that know better. And that's the thing. You know, it's worse when it's the people that know better that are feeding this fire. Because you got some people where they have mental deficiencies. They're not just stupid. Some of them have a lot of mental deficiencies. You got a lot of people that are angry and unhappy with their lives, and they're lashing on to hate. They want somebody to hate. They want somebody to blame for their lack of success or the fact that their life hasn't turned out the way they wanted it to be. So it's easier to blame somebody else instead of kicking back, figuring out what decisions I may have made or didn't make that have me in a situation I'm in and what I can do to try to improve that and get out. Now it's easier to blame somebody. I saw a clip from somebody else because, you know, I ain't on here stealing people's shit or with all that. So I don't really drop names on them because I ain't here to try to have people hating on other people's pages or none of that. But there's a lot of people out there that are informed and they sharing good information. And you got a lot of people out there that's full of shit and they just on some bullshit. They saying some stupid shit just because they want you to click on their shit and comment. They got nobody in life that they could turn to. They losers. So they say some horrible shit because they want to start dialogue and fight with somebody on the internet. That's not what I'm doing. I ain't trying to do it. I'll respond to comments, whether they stupid or not, because I'm talking facts. I'm speaking with a foundation. I didn't just decide that I'm gonna throw random ass numbers out there or stories out there. These are verifiable numbers and statistics when I drop those. These are real incidents that have occurred where firsthand witnesses are telling you what happened, but that's not getting reported on. You know, they out here really trying to spin the narrative because they know the best thing about public speaking that people miss is that you don't have to be a genius to be great at public speaking. You don't got to be smart. To be a great public speaker, you just got to be a little bit smarter than the morons you talking to. And that's why MAGA works. Because the educated ones in MAGA, they just really, they understand exactly what's going on. Even the dumb ones, they understand what's going on. A lot of them, this is all they know. You think because the civil rights movement happened that all them racist people just changed their way of life? They just said, you know what? Well, it's the law now, so I'm going to give up these hateful feelings that I've had and been taught for generations through generations and generations. No, it's still been the same. It's faded off a little bit to not be as publicly acceptable because people of color have had more spending power over decades and things. So you're racist as hell, a lot of them, but they'll put that aside to collect our money. And it depends on where you live. If you ain't in a diverse state, oh, racism is hella prevalent. It's right out in front and in your face. And then when you're living in certain places where it's diverse, California, it ain't as overt. And that ain't to say there ain't no racists here, because they are. Because you seen how proud these clowns were to try to put out this Trump shit and all that, walking around with their chest out, with their man boobs, sporting that 14x16 Trump flag. And it's funny how you little cowards done took y'all flags down. There's some devout ones that still want to wear the hats and all that shit. Don't tread on me and all this. That don't make you a patriot. Supporting a pedophile, being a pedophile, that don't make you a patriot. Supporting a draft dodger, that don't make you a patriot. Ain't nothing America first in that dude. And ain't nothing America first in most of y'all. Y'all me first. So funny when I look at these clowns and you see them and you're like, what have you ever done for this country besides try to enrich yourself? What have you done at all to improve society or contribute to society? Nothing. Nothing. But you all on this Trump shit. Y'all a joke. I'm seeing all the flags that done came down off these people's houses because y'all feel stupid or you're just embarrassed. You're not so proud to be a racist now. You were so proud to be a racist. You were so proud to be a pedophile. Driving around with the flags hanging out your trucks. Got them in front of your pads and all that. Man, I've seen a lot of them flags come down. Y'all done resulted to a hat here and there, talking shit online. But if you're gonna be a monkey, be a gorilla. Own it. You did it. And to all the other citizens of the country, don't forget who was on that MAGA shit. Don't ever forget. Don't let them come back to your side. Don't ever forget. Anybody, you fuck with MAGA, you ain't never about to be fucking with me. Because you can't be my peoples. If you cared about me, you wouldn't support somebody that's trying to hurt me and people like me. And that's something I'll never forget. I used to have a coworker, and he was an Asian dude, and he was a gay guy. And he told me straight up something that I'll never forget. He said to me, he said, how can I be cool with you when you support somebody that wants to hurt me? And that was some real shit right there. All these people, because the first thing they do with these MAGA maggots is they try to defend how they not racist. People who ain't racist don't got to run around telling everybody they not racist. I don't do drugs, so I don't need to go tell everybody I don't do drugs. So it's not that complicated. If you're a decent human being with morals, that conflicts with everything about MAGA. So what that tells me, when you fuck with that dude, you're a morally flawed person. That whether you take part in sex crimes, sex abuse, pedophilia, all of that, it doesn't bother you. If you don't care about a career criminal that's committed various real estate and bank fraud, cheats on his taxes, because we still ain't seen those. Only president in history that ain't released his taxes. You may not do it, but you're envious and wish you could, because it don't bother you. You want to say you're not racist? Then you should be bothered by all this damn behavior. You say you're not a sex offender, a sexual deviant, then you should be bothered by all this behavior. If you a parent, or just a human being, let's not even say a parent. When this man talks about how good his daughter would be in bed, how he hopes that his youngest daughter gets the mom's legs and tits, because you go back to that interview that he did back in, I think it was 92 or 93. I think it was with Robin Leach. Or I have to go look it up, but when they asked this dude, what do you hope, she was a baby, Tiffany. What do you hope she inherits from you guys? This fool Doesn't say intelligence, doesn't say strong will or personality. This dude says her legs, and he hopes she gets her mother's chest. You already know about the horrible shit he done said about his oldest daughter, Ivanka. Like, these are things that normal human beings should have a problem with. So it really tripped me out when I'm coming across people that before this Trump shit, I thought you was cool. But now I know what you really talk about at the dinner table when I ain't around. What your values really are when you ain't faking the funk around me. I don't know how many people told me that when he said that shit about grabbing them by the, get away with it, I'm rich, you can do what you want, blah, blah, blah. I just knew that was it for women voters. Nope. There were so many white women that I worked with that told me that didn't bother them because that's just how men are. What kind of men are y'all around? Because I didn't have no Latina, Asian, or black women say that shit to me. They were disgusted by it. He a dirty old man, that shit's nasty, it's foul. But there were several white women that looked me in my fucking face and said to me, now, mind you, they come from, they ain't rich like that, but they on the upper end of middle class and all that, come from money, have some money, husbands make money, and they say, oh, that doesn't bother me, that's just how men are. At least 4 or 5. And it blew my mind. Because I wanted to ask him, like, it was, you know, you've been working with me for years. And you didn't show this side of you or anything until this Trump shit started going on. So I wanted to know. And the shit they were saying and all that, oh, you've been faking for this long. You've been faking for this long. And now you feel confident and supported by being yourself. Because that's what a lot of these people, you look back on the history of a lot of these Trump supporters that are your friends, or in my case, former friends, because you can't fuck with me. That's where me and my wife differ, where she says that, you know, you shouldn't, just because people vote a certain way and all that, you're absolutely right to a degree. But this dude is so despicable, if you fuck with him, there's a moral disconnect that I'm not willing to give you a pass on. I'll be cordial if I have to in a social environment, but if it's my choice, I ain't trying to share no air with you ever again. And that's just real talk. I ain't trying to share no air with you ever again. And I don't want my daughter going to nobody's house that supports Trump, because clearly you ain't got no problem with sex offenders and abuse of women and all that, so I don't trust you at all. And I don't want to be in a situation where I got to come put them things on you, because I don't play with my daughter. I don't play with no females in my family. Wife, all that. So I don't even want you going to nobody's house that flying that Trump shit. That tell me where they are morally, where their values are. Because even if you ain't an active participant in that way of life, the fact it don't bother you enough to where you gonna vote for them. And don't get me wrong, this ain't my rah-rah about the Democrats, because they pissed me off and I ain't like them for a while too. But the problem is, you got to pick from the lesser of two evils, and that was a clear choice here. But what's even worse is that we're in a country with this many millions of people, and those are the best options that we have to choose from. But even with that said, was it really a choice for anybody decent? He had concepts of a plan. Project 25 and a racist ass history, a history of sexual deviancy and abuse. And at least she had plans. She had ideas that she spoke to the public about. You dropped the ball, Democrats, because you decided that because of the cockiness of Joe Biden and the cowardness of the party, you didn't open the platform for everybody to run. They started talking that bullshit early that Biden's the only one positioned to beat Trump. Well, you know what? We knew that the orange-faced gremlin was going to bully his way through the Republicans, but you know what? At least they had an open platform for people to challenge, and they lost. They work for him now after all the horrible shit they said he was, how everybody said he was unfit, how he was disgusting, he was this, he's a criminal. They all got jobs working for him now. So y'all a bunch of busters. Kneeling and kissing the ring just because you begging for a job after you said he was horrible and unfit. Called him every name in the book. He called you every name in the book. And now y'all working for him. Democrats, you cheated the Democratic Party out of being able to vote for their person. You didn't hold a convention. You didn't let everybody throw their hat in there and see who the public wanted. So that really affected Ms. Harris too, because people felt cheated. And that was a mistake by the party. Why you guys are running on thinking that you're gonna appeal to people's moral high ground, that was a mistake too. How is this man's record this fucked up and you ain't talking about it? You ain't talking about his Epstein connection. You ain't talking about all the women that have accused him of sexual deviancy. What, 30? 30 women? You ain't talking about E. Jane Carroll. You ain't talking about how his first wife said he beat the shit out of her after he came home with his nose job, and that he used to beat her and that he raped her. That was in the sealed divorce shit that got unsealed. And then she recanted because he gave her money. But that was in her divorce shit, her deposition. So his behavior ain't new. He been doing this forever. His wealth has been able to shield him, and the fact that he a white dude. So, I mean, let's not play games. Because the Democrats, you on my shit list too. But when you look at the lesser of two evils or who's going to do the most damage to the country, that shit was clear. Because there's some shit out there like you bobbled to football too. You fumbled the hell out that shit, Ms. Harris. You fumbled the hell out that shit. I knew you were going to lose the day you went out there and they asked you what you would do different than Biden, and you said nothing. That was the day I knew you were going to lose. When you said nothing different, that was it. I was looking at my TV yelling at that shit like it could talk back. The hell kind of dumbass answer was that? You already know you got to go against people that can't stand Biden, and you seem like you're going to carry on the same bullshit. The fact that you're a woman and you're a woman of color. You're both Indian and black. So you got a lot of sexist people on both sides of the party that don't want no woman running shit. You got a lot of people that didn't want to vote for you just because you were a woman of color. And they couldn't get past qualifications. Ain't no way in hell we can even compare qualifications. She's an educated ass woman that's held the position she held as the attorney general and all this shit she's done. And you got a failed ass businessman that rapes women. Ain't never been a success in his life. So the idea of who's more qualified, that wasn't even a question. So do better, Democrats, because y'all need to take the gloves off, and you need to put that petroleum jelly on your nose, and you need to start throwing them blows. Like, I don't know why you're up on this high horse. This shit made me think about how Marion Barry got caught smoking crack, and then you still won. It's like, damn, how bad was the person running against Marion Barry where you lost to a crackhead? It's like, Democrats, don't fumble this again. And you already see where they redistricting and changing everything in Texas. And they've been doing this for years, but they up to it again to take away the Democrats' chance to win seats in Texas. But they've been doing this for 10, 12 years. Ever since, they were doing it before Obama, but they really picked it up. Because when they redistrict, what they're doing is they're making it so that areas that they know they're not going to win count less. So you might have, let's just say as a county, you got a county where it's broken up into 6 areas. And the 6 areas, 4 usually vote Democrat. 2 usually vote Republican. So what you're doing is you're consolidating areas to make Democrats be able to win less. So you're redistricting, you're redrawing maps to make it favorable to you. And that, again, that's what I'm telling people. Who does all this shit if you won fair and square? So we know his ass cheated on this election, and he's worrying about if he can cheat again and get away with it. So they're doing different shit. Who wins a race and tries to change the rules? Somebody who cheated in that damn race. And this ain't no sore loser. I respect Harris's camp, keeping quiet on it, but there are so many states and counties where the only Republican position that was won was the presidency. And in most of these counties, you ain't gonna vote Democrat for everything in the county and then pick Republican for president. That shit just don't work like that historically. It ain't never been done. So you fought the courts to get rid of 3 million votes. You won by, like, what they say, 2 million or under 2 million? And this is stuff where these were legitimate votes that you went to court and got thrown out. And you're trying to make it as hard as possible for people to vote. Because you know they're not going to vote for you. That's where it's hard to believe you won really fair and square. Because of all the changes you're trying to make after this. So y'all need to remember, if you a decent person that ain't a MAGA maggot, and even the MAGA maggots who you only are angry now because all the horrible shit you voted for that you didn't think was going to happen to you is happening to you, either way, don't do a 4th time, because what he's doing with the Constitution, he gonna try to run again. And everybody says, well, you can't be president. There's a lot of shit he's doing that you're not supposed to be able to do. So don't put your guard down. He ain't following the law. He been pissing all over the Constitution and everything. So he gonna try. And if you look at this Supreme Court, don't think you're gonna turn to them for any kind of justice and order. They're horrible. And with that conservative majority and the fact that Alito is 77 and Clarence Thomas is 77, and they already working on Trump wants those 2 to leave. So you can appoint 2 more younger, radical, crazy-ass MAGA maggots that will serve there for decades. He's looking for somebody 50 or 60 so you can get another 20 years out of them. And in 20 years, Trump ain't gonna be around no more, but this horrible way of life and messages. So there's too many people I hear that are saying, you only gotta deal with him for 3 more years, or you're not angry enough. This being tolerant and trying to be positive, you could be that, but y'all need to be angry and active. Don't think about, I'm gonna be the bigger person. Nah, you need to be the bigger person, but you need to be angry as hell and active. I ain't saying do no crazy shit or be violent or nothing, but y'all need to let y'all voice be known. I ain't on some old talk to MAGA, see if you can. No, they're lost causes. They're lost causes. Anybody that's a MAGA maggot that changes sides is only because they're selfish as fuck and they got affected by these decisions that they voted for and fully wanted. They wanted all the immigrants gone because they're racist. Until they farm, don't got no workers. Because he said he wasn't gonna take the workers. And you watch this media stuff, they're all over blue states. I'm in California, they all over California, snatching up people off the streets, paying people to apprehend them per person. There's immigrants, there's a huge population of immigrants in Texas, Florida, all throughout the Midwest. These are red states. And what they're not showing you is how you're not attacking these red states like you're doing California, because a lot of these companies that hire these immigrants, they're white Republican-owned companies. So your constituents are mad as hell that you affected them. They don't care about the humanity part of it or the lack of due process. They cared that you taking money out their pockets. These people in Texas, your ass voted for this shit. He was just supposed to keep taking care of you. All this money that was going to these rural places that was part of the Biden inflation plan, he offered you money that y'all refused and then eventually took it and mismanaged it. He tried to help y'all. You look at a lot of these states where he poured money into rural America. You voted for Trump when his plans were to cut that shit, to cut the flow of money, to cut solar, to cut wind, putting whole cities out of work. Electricians ain't got nothing to do. You voted for shit that you benefited from, but you voted against it. The Venezuelans, the Cubans in Florida, and a lot of Latinos throughout the country, especially ones that have been given protective status. You son of a bitches voted for Trump and against the Biden administration. You voted against the Democrats when the Democrats gave you protected status. So your will to be accepted by white society, thinking you're going to be one of them, got your ass cleaned. They cleaned your clock. When they took that protective status away, which you never thought would happen because, hey, you're one of them. We're Trumpers. Damn music videos that them fools dancing on boats and swinging them flags and shit. That's the funniest shit ever, when the same people in them videos is out here crying, talking about he tricked us. He didn't trick you. He told you exactly what he was going to do and who he was going to do it to. You just thought you was better than every other Latino. You thought you was different. And that's how they get y'all. Same with this Black MAGA. Y'all ain't one of them. The funniest shit is, if you were one of them and fully accepted into the group, you wouldn't be known as Black MAGA. Carrying signs to say blacks for Trump. If y'all were all one and there was unity, why aren't y'all just MAGA? Why aren't y'all just holding up Trump flags? Because even they know you not one of them. So you got to shuck and jive and hold up blacks for Trump. Black MAGA. So even you know you not one of them. You Uncle Ruckus ass people.